In the heart of Beverly Hills, where luxury and glamour intertwined seamlessly, stood an upscale car dealership known for its exclusivity. The showroom was a temple of opulence, filled with gleaming vehicles that whispered promises of status and success. Among these prized possessions sat a Rolls-Royce Phantom, a masterpiece on wheels, its polished black exterior reflecting the soft glow of overhead lights. It was the kind of car that turned heads and sparked envy, even in a city as accustomed to extravagance as Los Angeles. On this particular afternoon, the quiet hum of the showroom was interrupted by the confident click of heels against the marble floor. A woman entered, her presence commanding attention without effort. Her name was Evelyn Carter, and she carried herself with the poise of someone who had earned every ounce of respect life had given her. Dressed in a tailored designer suit paired with tasteful jewelry, Evelyn looked like she belonged among the elite clientele the dealership catered to. Yet beneath her polished exterior lay a story of grit and determination, qualities that had propelled her from modest beginnings to becoming one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the city. Evelyn's arrival did not go unnoticed. One of the salespeople, a young man named Derek, approached her with what he thought was charm but came off more as arrogance. His demeanor shifted almost immediately when he took in her appearance. Though Evelyn radiated sophistication, Derek made quick assumptions based on stereotypes deeply ingrained in his mindset. Instead of seeing a potential buyer, he saw someone he believed couldn't afford the cars displayed before them. "Good afternoon," Derek greeted her, his tone laced with forced politeness. "How can I assist you today?" Evelyn smiled warmly, unfazed by his slightly dismissive attitude. "I'm interested in the Rolls-Royce Phantom," she said, gesturing toward the sleek vehicle behind him. Her voice was calm yet firm, leaving no room for doubt about her intentions. Derek blinked, momentarily caught off guard. He glanced at the Phantom and then back at Evelyn, his lips curling into a smirk. "Oh, the Phantom? That's quite the choice," he replied, his tone dripping with condescension. "It's a bit out of reach for most people, though." Evelyn raised an eyebrow, sensing the subtle insult hidden beneath his words. She chose not to react immediately, instead letting him continue. "I mean, it's a beautiful car, no question," Derek went on, his confidence growing as he misinterpreted her silence. "But perhaps we should start with something more practical. We have some excellent used models over here. Great condition, very affordable." Affordable. The word hung in the air between them, heavy with implication. Evelyn felt a flicker of irritation but pushed it aside. She had faced far worse challenges in her life than this man's misplaced judgment. Still, there was something about his dismissiveness that struck a nerve. It wasn't just about her. It was about all the times she'd been underestimated, because of her skin color or gender. But Evelyn was not one to let such moments get the better of her. She decided to play along, if only to see how far his ignorance would take him. "That's thoughtful of you," Evelyn responded smoothly, her smile unwavering. "But I assure you, affordability isn't a concern for me. I'd still like to know more about the Phantom." Derek hesitated, clearly unprepared for her persistence. He glanced around the showroom, hoping for backup from his colleagues, but they were busy attending to other customers. With no escape route, he reluctantly began rattling off details about the car's features: its powerful engine, handcrafted interior, and state-of-the-art technology. But his delivery lacked enthusiasm, as if he already assumed she wouldn't understand or appreciate the finer points of luxury automobiles. As he spoke, Evelyn listened intently, nodding occasionally to acknowledge his words. Inside, however, her mind was racing. This wasn't just about buying a car, it was about proving a point, not to Derek, but to herself. She had built her empire through hard work and resilience, refusing to let anyone stand in her way. And now, standing in this showroom, she reminded herself why she was here: to surprise her son Marcus with a gift that celebrated his incredible achievements. Marcus Carter was no ordinary teenager. At just 17 years old, he had already made a name for himself as a prodigy race car driver. His talent behind the wheel was unmatched, earning him victories in prestigious competitions across Europe and America. Racing legends spoke of him with admiration, predicting a bright future ahead. For Evelyn, purchasing the Phantom was more than a splurge. It was a symbol of pride, a testament to how far they had come together as a family. Yet, Derek remained oblivious to all of this. As he wrapped up his half-hearted presentation, he chuckled nervously, clearly uncomfortable under Evelyn's steady gaze. "So, what do you think?" he asked, his tone laced with skepticism. "Still interested?" Evelyn tilted her head slightly, her expression unreadable. "Very much so," she replied, her voice steady. "But tell me, have you ever heard of Marcus Carter?" The question caught Derek off guard. He blinked, momentarily confused. "Marcus Carter?" he repeated, scratching his head. "Can't say I have." Evelyn's smile widened ever so slightly, a hint of mischief glinting in her eyes. "He's my son," she explained, her tone casual but deliberate. "You might recognize his name. He's been making waves in the racing world lately." Derek laughed awkwardly, dismissing her comment as mere boasting. Sure, he muttered, clearly unconvinced. "Well, if you're serious about the Phantom, we'll need to discuss financing options." Before he could finish, another employee entered the showroom, holding a glossy magazine. On the cover was none other than Marcus Carter, clad in his racing gear with the headline proclaiming him the next Ayrton Senna. Derek froze, his face draining of color as he recognized the image. It was the same boy whose posters adorned his own bedroom walls, a hero he idolized. For a moment, the room seemed to spin. Derek's mind raced as realization dawned on him. This wasn't just any customer, it was the mother of one of the biggest names in motorsports, and he had laughed at her. Evelyn Carter's journey to success was nothing short of extraordinary. Born into a modest household in a small town, she grew up watching her parents work tirelessly to make ends meet. Her father worked double shifts at a factory, while her mother juggled multiple jobs as a seamstress and caterer. Despite their struggles, they instilled in Evelyn the values of hard work, perseverance, and education. From an early age, she learned that life wouldn't hand her anything. She would have to earn it herself. As a child, Evelyn often helped her mother prepare meals for events, learning not only how to cook, but also how to manage logistics and budgets. These experiences sparked her entrepreneurial spirit. By the time she was in high school, Evelyn had already started her first business, a small catering service that catered to local gatherings and church events. Though the profits were modest, they taught her invaluable lessons about customer service, planning, and problem solving. She quickly realized that running a business wasn't just about making money. It was about building relationships and delivering value. After graduating high school, Evelyn faced a crossroads. College seemed like a distant dream given her family's financial situation, but she refused to let circumstances dictate her future. Instead, she took a job at a local hotel, working long hours as a receptionist. It was there that she discovered her passion for hospitality. Evelyn observed how the hotel operated, from managing staff to handling guest complaints, and she soaked up every detail like a sponge. Within 2 years, she had risen through the ranks to become the assistant manager, an impressive feat for someone so young. But Evelyn wasn't content to stop there. She began dreaming bigger, envisioning a chain of boutique hotels that would offer personalized experiences to guests. The idea seemed audacious, especially for a young woman with limited resources, but Evelyn was undeterred. She spent countless nights researching the industry, drafting business plans, and networking with anyone who could offer guidance. Along the way, she encountered skepticism from those who doubted her ability to succeed. Some dismissed her ambitions outright, telling her that the hospitality industry was too competitive and that she lacked the connections needed to thrive. But Evelyn didn't let their words discourage her. If anything, they fueled her determination to prove them wrong. Her big break came when she met an investor at a community event. Impressed by her vision and tenacity, he agreed to fund her first hotel project, a cozy property located in a quiet neighborhood. Evelyn poured her heart and soul into the venture, overseeing every aspect of its development, from interior design to marketing strategies. When the hotel finally opened its doors, it was an instant hit. Guests praised the warm atmosphere, impeccable service, and attention to detail, all hallmarks of Evelyn's leadership. Word of mouth spread quickly, and soon Evelyn's boutique hotel became a favorite among travelers seeking a unique experience. Encouraged by her success, she expanded her operations, opening additional properties in other cities. Each location reflected her commitment to quality and innovation, earning accolades from customers and industry experts alike. Within a decade, Evelyn had built a thriving chain of hotels, solidifying her reputation as a trailblazer in the hospitality sector. But Evelyn's ambitions didn't end with hotels. As technology began reshaping industries, she recognized the potential of digital innovation. Drawing on her experience in managing teams and solving complex problems, she co-founded a tech startup focused on developing software solutions for small businesses. The company specialized in streamlining operations, improving efficiency, and enhancing customer engagement. Once again, Evelyn proved her knack for identifying opportunities and turning ideas into reality. Within a few years, her startup gained significant traction, attracting major investors and partnerships. Its valuation soared past $50 million, cementing Evelyn's status as a self-made millionaire. Despite her remarkable achievements, Evelyn remained grounded. She attributed her success not to luck or privilege, but to resilience and relentless effort. She often reminded herself of the challenges she had overcome, the sleepless nights, the rejections, the moments of doubt, and used them as fuel to keep pushing forward. More importantly, she never forgot where she came from. Evelyn made it a point to give back to her community, funding scholarships for underprivileged students and supporting programs aimed at empowering women entrepreneurs. For Evelyn, however, success wasn't just about personal accomplishments. It was also about creating opportunities for her family. Her greatest pride and joy was her son, Marcus Carter. From the moment he was born, Evelyn vowed to provide him with the opportunities she hadn't had growing up. She encouraged his curiosity, nurtured his talents, and taught him the importance of discipline and hard work. Marcus shared his mother's drive and ambition, excelling in academics and extracurricular activities. But it was his love for cars and racing that truly set him apart. Marcus's fascination with automobiles began at a young age. He spent hours poring over car magazines, studying engines, and learning about different models. By the time he was 10, he was already tinkering with toy cars, trying to understand what made them go faster. His interest evolved into a passion when Evelyn enrolled him in a local karting program. To her delight, Marcus showed natural talent behind the wheel, quickly outpacing older and more experienced drivers. What started as a hobby soon blossomed into a full-fledged career. Over the next few years, Marcus climbed the ranks of junior racing leagues, earning trophies and accolades along the way. His breakthrough came when he qualified for a prestigious international competition, where he finished in the top 3 against seasoned competitors twice his age. The victory catapulted him into the spotlight, drawing attention from sponsors and media outlets worldwide. By the age of 17, Marcus had become one of the most promising young racers in the world, competing in elite circuits like Formula 3 and preparing for the ultimate challenge, Formula 1. Watching her son achieve such incredible milestones filled Evelyn with immense pride. She knew firsthand how much dedication and sacrifice went into pursuing a dream, and she admired Marcus's unwavering focus and humility. Despite his rising fame, Marcus remained close to his roots, always crediting his mother for her support and encouragement. Their bond was unbreakable, rooted in mutual respect and admiration. It was this bond that inspired Evelyn to visit the luxury car dealership that day. She wanted to surprise Marcus with a gift that symbolized his journey, a Rolls-Royce Phantom, a car as extraordinary as his accomplishments. Little did she know that the visit would turn into a lesson in dignity and resilience, reminding her once again of the strength it took to navigate a world that often underestimated her. Yet, Evelyn faced the situation with grace, determined to rise above prejudice and prove, yet again, that true wealth lies not in material possessions but in character and conviction. The air in the showroom grew tense as Derek's laughter faded into an awkward silence. Evelyn stood there, her expression calm but piercing, watching as the young salesperson struggled to process what was happening. The magazine clutched in. The other employee's hand seemed to burn a hole through the room, its glossy cover bearing Marcus Carter's triumphant image staring back at them all. For Derek, it was like looking into a mirror of his own ignorance, a reflection he wasn't prepared to face. "You were saying?" Evelyn finally broke the silence, her voice smooth and steady, though laced with quiet authority. Her tone wasn't accusatory or angry. Instead, it carried the weight of someone who had seen this kind of behavior before and knew exactly how to handle it. Derek opened his mouth to respond but found no words. His earlier confidence had evaporated, replaced by a mix of embarrassment and disbelief. The other employee, sensing the gravity of the situation, stepped forward cautiously. "Mrs. Carter," he began, his voice tinged with nervousness. "I'm so sorry about this misunderstanding. We're huge fans of your son. He's truly inspiring." Evelyn nodded graciously, accepting the apology without gloating. She didn't need to rub salt in the wound. Derek's reaction spoke volumes on its own. Still, she couldn't resist adding one final remark. "It's fascinating how quickly perceptions change when you recognize someone's name," she said, her eyes locking onto Derek's. "But I hope you'll remember that respect shouldn't depend on fame or recognition. Everyone deserves to be treated fairly." Derek swallowed hard, his face pale and his hands trembling slightly. He glanced down at the magazine again, unable to tear his gaze away from Marcus's confident smile. It hit him then. This wasn't just any customer standing in front of him. This was the mother of a global icon, a teenager whose achievements had already surpassed those of many seasoned professionals. And he, Derek, had laughed at her. The realization was crushing. Before he could fully process his emotions, the manager appeared, alerted by the commotion. A middle-aged man with graying hair and a polished suit, the manager exuded professionalism as he approached Evelyn. "Mrs. Carter," he said warmly, extending his hand, "please allow me to apologize on behalf of our team. Clearly there has been a grave oversight here, and I assure you that we will make it right." Evelyn accepted his handshake, her demeanor still composed. "Thank you," she replied simply. There was no malice in her voice, only a quiet resolve that demanded accountability. She appreciated the manager's swift intervention, but she knew that apologies alone wouldn't erase the sting of Derek's dismissive attitude. The manager turned to Derek, his expression stern. "Derek, why don't you step aside for a moment? Let's give Mrs. Carter the attention she deserves." Derek nodded mutely, retreating to the corner of the showroom like a chastised child. As he watched Evelyn interact with the manager, he felt a deep sense of shame wash over him. How could he have been so blind, so judgmental? Meanwhile, the manager ushered Evelyn to a private lounge within the dealership, offering her refreshments and ensuring she was comfortable. He listened intently as she recounted the details of her experience, nodding sympathetically. "I understand if you'd prefer not to continue shopping with us today," he admitted, his tone sincere. "But I want to assure you that we value every customer who walks through our doors, regardless of background or appearance. Today's incident does not reflect our standards." Evelyn appreciated the gesture, though she remained cautious. "I appreciate your apology," she said, "but actions speak louder than words. If you truly believe in treating everyone equally, then perhaps this is an opportunity to learn and grow, not just for Derek but for your entire team." The manager nodded vigorously. "Absolutely, Mrs. Carter. We'll take immediate steps to address this. Mandatory diversity training, sensitivity workshops. We'll do whatever it takes to ensure something like this never happens again." Satisfied with his response, Evelyn decided to move forward with her original plan, purchasing the Rolls-Royce Phantom. After all, she hadn't come to the dealership to teach anyone a lesson. It was about celebrating Marcus's success and giving him a gift he would cherish forever. With the manager personally overseeing the transaction, the process went smoothly. Evelyn signed the paperwork with a sense of quiet triumph, knowing that she had handled the situation with dignity and grace. As the deal was finalized, Derek lingered, nearby, clearly torn between guilt and curiosity. Eventually, he mustered the courage to approach Evelyn once more. Mrs. Carter, he began hesitantly. I owe you an apology. My behavior earlier was unacceptable and I deeply regret it. Please know that I didn't mean any disrespect. Evelyn studied him for a moment, her expression unreadable. Then slowly she nodded. Apology accepted, she said. But remember this moment. Use it as a reminder to treat others with kindness and fairness, even when you don't know their story. Derek nodded fervently, visibly moved by her words. Thank you, he whispered. You've given me a lot to think about. Later that evening, as Evelyn drove the Phantom home, she reflected on the day's events. While the encounter at the dealership had been frustrating, it also reinforced her belief in the importance of perseverance and self-respect. She thought about Marcus and how proud he would be when he saw the car, and how much prouder he would be knowing that his mother had handled adversity with strength and composure. When Evelyn arrived home, the Phantom gleamed under the soft glow of the driveway lights. She stepped out of the car feeling a surge of satisfaction. This wasn't just a luxury vehicle. It was a symbol of resilience, achievement, and unconditional love. Tomorrow she would surprise Marcus with the gift, sharing not only the car but also the story behind it. Together they would celebrate not just his accomplishments but the journey they had taken as a family, a journey marked by challenges, victories, and lessons learned along the way. Though the day had started with prejudice and dismissal, it ended with growth and understanding. Evelyn knew that true success wasn't measured by material possessions or accolades. It was about the impact you made on others and the legacy you left behind. And as she stood there, admiring the Phantom and thinking about Marcus's bright future, she felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The next morning, Evelyn woke up with a renewed sense of purpose. The events at the dealership lingered in her mind, but instead of dwelling on Derek's behavior, she focused on the positive outcomes. She had turned an uncomfortable situation into an opportunity for growth, not just for herself but for others involved as well. It was a reminder that life's challenges often carried hidden lessons, and how we responded to them defined our character. After breakfast, Evelyn called Marcus downstairs. He entered the living room, rubbing his eyes, still groggy from sleep. "Mom, what's going on?" he asked, stifling a yawn. Evelyn simply smiled and gestured toward the window. Curious, Marcus walked over and peeked outside. His jaw dropped when he saw the Rolls-Royce Phantom gleaming under the sunlight. For a moment he stood frozen, unable to believe his eyes. Is that ours?" Marcus finally managed to stammer, turning back to his mother with wide-eyed disbelief. Evelyn chuckled softly, enjoying his reaction. "Not exactly," she replied, walking toward him. "It's yours. A gift to celebrate everything you've achieved so far." Marcus blinked, stunned. "You're kidding, right? This has to be some kind of dream." "It's no dream," Evelyn assured him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You've worked incredibly hard, Marcus. You've earned this, and more. I wanted to give you something special to remind you of how far you've come." Tears welled up in Marcus's eyes as he hugged his mother tightly. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. "I don't even know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," Evelyn said gently, returning the embrace. "Just promise me you'll keep pushing forward no matter what obstacles come your way. Remember, success isn't about material things. It's about staying grounded and using your platform to inspire others." Marcus nodded, wiping away a tear. "I will, Mom. I promise." As they stepped outside to take a closer look at the car, Evelyn decided to share the full story behind the purchase. She recounted her visit to the dealership, the dismissive attitude of the salesperson, the awkward revelation about Marcus's identity, and the eventual apology from the manager. Marcus listened intently, his expression shifting between amusement and indignation. "That's crazy," Marcus said, shaking his head. "How could anyone underestimate you like that? You're one of the strongest people I know." Evelyn shrugged, smiling faintly. People make assumptions based on appearances all the time. It's unfortunate, but it happens. What matters is how we respond. I chose to rise above it because I knew my worth, and so should you. Marcus nodded thoughtfully. I get it, Mom. But I can't believe they didn't recognize you right away. You're Evelyn Carter, a legend in your own right. Evelyn laughed lightly, touched by her son's admiration. Flattery will get you everywhere, she teased. But seriously, let's not forget where we came from. We've worked too hard to let anyone diminish our achievements. That's why I handled the situation with dignity. Respect isn't given, it's earned, and sometimes it's demanded. Together, they climbed into the Phantom for its maiden drive. As Marcus settled into the driver's seat, he marveled at the car's luxurious interior. The plush leather seats, the state-of-the-art dashboard, and the smooth hum of the engine made him feel like he was sitting inside a spaceship rather than a car. Evelyn sat beside him, watching with pride as her son took the wheel. This thing drives like a dream, Marcus exclaimed after cruising through the neighborhood. It's unreal. It suits you, Evelyn remarked, leaning back comfortably. A car like this deserves someone who appreciates excellence and someone who embodies it. Their drive became a bonding experience, filled with laughter, conversation, and shared memories. They talked about Marcus's upcoming races, his goals for the future, and the importance of staying humble despite growing fame. Evelyn reminded him that true greatness wasn't measured by trophies or accolades, but by the impact he had on those around him. Later that evening, as they returned home, Evelyn reflected on the day's joy. Seeing Marcus light up with excitement reminded her of why she had worked so tirelessly to provide him with opportunities. Their journey hadn't been easy. There had been sacrifices, setbacks, and moments of doubt, but every challenge had brought them closer together. Meanwhile, back at the dealership, Derek found himself reflecting on the encounter as well. The memory of Evelyn's calm demeanor and sharp words haunted him throughout the day. He replayed their conversation in his mind, cringing at his own arrogance and ignorance. How could he have dismissed someone so accomplished? Worse yet, how many other customers had he treated unfairly without realizing it? Determined to make amends, Derek approached the manager later that afternoon. Sir, I need to talk to you about yesterday, he began, his tone earnest. I messed up. Big time. Mrs. Carter deserved better than how I treated her, and I want to do whatever it takes to fix this. The manager nodded approvingly. I'm glad you're taking responsibility, Derek. Accountability is the first step toward change. What are you thinking? I'd like to reach out to Mrs. Carter personally, Derek admitted. Not just to apologize again, but to show her that I've learned from my mistakes. Maybe I could invite her back to the dealership for a proper VIP experience to prove that we value her business. The manager considered the idea before nodding. That's a good start. But remember, actions speak louder than words. If you truly want to earn her trust, you'll need to demonstrate genuine respect moving forward. With the manager's approval, Derek drafted a heartfelt letter to Evelyn, expressing his regret and inviting her to return to the dealership for a private tour and test drive. He also committed to attending diversity training sessions and working closely with colleagues to ensure fair treatment for all customers. Sending the letter felt like a weight lifted off his shoulders, though he knew earning forgiveness would take time. A few days later, Evelyn received Derek's letter. She read it carefully, noting the sincerity in his words. While part of her hesitated to revisit the situation, another part recognized the importance of second chances. After discussing it with Marcus, she decided to accept Derek's invitation, not for herself, but to encourage meaningful change within the dealership. When Evelyn arrived at the showroom once again, Derek greeted her with visible nervousness. Mrs. Carter, thank you for coming, he said, extending his hand. I can't tell you how much I appreciate this opportunity. Evelyn shook his hand firmly, offering a small smile. Thank you for reaching out, Derek. Change starts with acknowledgement, and I see that you're making an effort. Let's focus on moving forward. Over the course of the afternoon, Derek gave Evelyn and Marcus a personalized tour of the dealership, showcasing their latest models and sharing insights about the automotive industry. His demeanor was respectful and attentive, a stark contrast to their previous interaction. By the end of the visit, Evelyn could see the progress he had made, not just in his behavior but in his mindset. As they prepared to leave, Marcus turned to Derek with a grin. "You know, if you ever need racing tips, feel free to ask. I might have a few pointers." Derek laughed nervously but gratefully. "I'll keep that in mind," he replied. "And thank you both for giving me a chance to make things right." Driving home, Evelyn glanced at Marcus, who was still grinning ear to ear. "What do you think?" she asked. "I think he's trying," Marcus replied. "And honestly, that's all anyone can ask for. People mess up, but it's how they grow from it that counts." Evelyn nodded, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. The day had started with prejudice and misunderstanding, but it ended with redemption and hope. Through patience, resilience, and compassion, they had turned a negative experience into a powerful lesson, one that would resonate far beyond the walls of a luxury car dealership. The weeks that followed Evelyn's second visit to the dealership brought a wave of change, not just for Derek and the staff, but for Evelyn and Marcus as well. The incident had sparked conversations that went far beyond the confines of the showroom, touching on themes of respect, bias, and personal growth. For Evelyn, it reinforced her belief in leading by example, while for Marcus, it highlighted the importance of using his platform to inspire others. Back at home, life settled into its usual rhythm, though the presence of the Rolls-Royce Phantom added a touch of excitement to their days. Marcus couldn't resist taking the car out for drives whenever he had free time, marveling at its performance and craftsmanship. Each ride felt like a celebration of his achievements, a tangible reminder of how far he had come and the sacrifices his mother had made along the way. But despite the luxury of the vehicle, Marcus remained grounded, never losing sight of the values Evelyn had instilled in him. One evening, as they sat together in the living room, Evelyn reflected on the impact of recent events. "You know," she began, her tone thoughtful, "that day at the dealership wasn't just about me or you. It was about teaching people to see beyond appearances. Sometimes all it takes is one moment to change someone's perspective." Marcus nodded, leaning forward. "Yeah, I've been thinking about that too. Derek seemed really shaken when he realized who you were and who I am. It's funny how fame can make people pay attention, but I wish they'd treat everyone with the same respect, regardless of whether they're famous or not." Evelyn smiled, proud of her son's maturity. "That's exactly why we have to keep speaking up and setting an example. People won't always get it right, but if we stay consistent, we can help create a culture of fairness and understanding." Their conversation shifted to Marcus's upcoming races, with several high-profile competitions on the horizon, including a prestigious event in Monaco. Marcus was determined to prove himself once again. Racing was more than just a sport to him. It was a way to break barriers and challenge stereotypes. He wanted to show the world that talent and hard work transcended background and circumstances, a message he hoped would resonate with aspiring athletes everywhere. As the weeks passed, word of Evelyn's encounter at the dealership spread quietly through social circles and professional networks. Friends, colleagues, and even strangers reached out to share their admiration for how she had handled the situation. Some recounted similar experiences of prejudice, expressing gratitude for her courage in standing firm. Others praised her for turning a negative interaction into a teachable moment, inspiring them to approach challenges with grace and resilience. Meanwhile, Derek continued to work on improving himself and his interactions with customers. The diversity training sessions proved eye-opening, forcing him to confront biases he hadn't realized he held. Through role-playing exercises and group discussions, he learned to listen actively, ask thoughtful questions, and avoid making assumptions based on superficial factors. Slowly but surely, his mindset began to shift. To hold himself accountable, Derek started keeping a journal, documenting his progress and reflecting on his daily interactions. Writing helped him process his thoughts and identify areas where he could improve. He also sought mentorship from senior colleagues, asking for feedback and guidance on how to provide exceptional service to every customer. His efforts didn't go unnoticed. The manager commended him for his dedication and encouraged him to continue growing. Months later, when Marcus returned to Los Angeles after another championship win, he decided to pay a visit to the dealership, not out of obligation, but out of curiosity. He wanted to see firsthand how things had changed since his mother's initial visit. Walking into the showroom, he was greeted warmly by several employees, including Derek, who now approached him with genuine enthusiasm rather than awkward hesitation. "Marcus!" Derek exclaimed, extending his hand. "It's such an honor to meet you. I've followed your career closely. You're incredible behind the wheel." Marcus shook his hand, noting the sincerity in Derek's voice. "Thanks, man. That means a lot coming from a fan." Derek laughed nervously but gratefully. "I owe a lot to you and your mom, actually. Meeting her changed the way I look at my job, and at people in general. She taught me that respect isn't optional. It's essential." Marcus nodded approvingly. "Glad to hear that. My mom has a way of leaving an impression, doesn't she?" "She definitely does," Derek agreed. "And I'm working hard to make sure I don't repeat the same mistakes. Every customer gets VIP treatment now, no exceptions." Impressed by Derek's transformation, Marcus spent the next hour chatting with him and other employees about cars, racing, and the future of the automotive industry. They discussed everything from cutting-edge technology to sustainability initiatives, finding common ground in their shared passion for innovation. By the end of the visit, Marcus felt a renewed sense of optimism, not just for Derek but for humanity as a whole. When Marcus returned home, he shared the experience with Evelyn over dinner. "You'll never guess who gave me the grand tour today," he said, grinning mischievously. Evelyn raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Oh, do tell." "Derek," Marcus replied, chuckling at her surprised expression. "He's come a long way since that first meeting. Actually apologized again, this time without prompting, and told me how much he's learned from what happened. Seems like he's genuinely trying to do better." Evelyn's face softened, a mix of pride and satisfaction washing over her. "That's wonderful to hear," she said. "People aren't perfect, but they can grow if given the chance. I'm glad he took responsibility for his actions. So am I," Marcus added. "It makes me think about how powerful our choices are. We can either let negativity define us, or we can use it as fuel to become better versions of ourselves." Their conversation turned reflective as they discussed the broader implications of the dealership incident. Evelyn emphasized the importance of empathy and patience, reminding Marcus that change often required time and effort. Marcus, in turn, expressed his gratitude for having a role model like his mother, someone who led with strength and compassion, even in the face of adversity. Later that night, as they stood outside admiring the phantom under the starlit sky, Evelyn placed a hand on Marcus's shoulder. "You know," she said softly, "this car represents more than success. It symbolizes resilience, determination, and the power of rising above obstacles. No matter where life takes you, remember that true wealth lies in character, not possessions." Marcus looked at her, his eyes filled with admiration. "I'll never forget that, Mom. Thanks for everything, for believing in me, for teaching me, and for showing me what real strength looks like." They hugged tightly, the bond between them stronger than ever. As they walked back inside, Evelyn felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The journey hadn't always been easy, but every challenge had brought them closer together, and every triumph had reinforced their commitment to making a difference. In the end, the story of the luxury car dealer who underestimated Evelyn Carter became more than just a tale of redemption. It was a testament to the enduring power of dignity, forgiveness, and second chances, a reminder that even in moments of injustice, there was always room for growth, connection, and hope. The ripple effects of Evelyn and Marcus's encounter with the luxury car dealership continued to unfold in ways that neither of them had anticipated. What had started as a single moment of prejudice and misunderstanding transformed into a catalyst for broader change, touching lives far beyond the showroom floor. For Derek, the salesperson whose arrogance had sparked the entire incident, the experience became a turning point, a lesson in humility and growth that reshaped not only his career, but also his outlook on life. In the months following Marcus's visit to the dealership, Derek threw himself into his work with renewed dedication. He took every opportunity to apply the lessons he had learned during diversity training, ensuring that each customer felt valued and respected regardless of their background or appearance. His colleagues noticed the shift in his demeanor, commenting on how much more approachable and empathetic he had become. Slowly but surely, Derek earned back the trust of his team and supervisors, proving that accountability and effort could lead to meaningful transformation. One day, while assisting a young couple browsing for their first luxury vehicle, Derek found himself reflecting on how different his approach was now compared to before. Instead of making assumptions based on their casual attire, he asked thoughtful questions to understand their needs and preferences. When they expressed hesitation about affordability, he patiently walked them through financing options without a hint of condescension. By the end of the interaction, the couple left the showroom beaming, not just because they had found their dream car, but because they felt genuinely respected throughout the process. Later that evening, Derek sat alone in his apartment, flipping through a notebook where he documented his progress. The pages were filled with reflections, goals, and reminders to stay mindful of his biases. As he read over his entries, he realized how much he had grown, not just professionally but personally. He thought about Evelyn and Marcus, wondering if they knew the impact they had made on his life. Though he doubted he would ever see them again, he silently thanked them for challenging him to become a better version of himself. Meanwhile, Evelyn and Marcus continued to thrive in their respective fields, using their success as a platform to inspire others. Evelyn expanded her boutique hotel chain to new cities, focusing on creating inclusive environments where guests from all walks of life felt welcome. She also launched a mentorship program aimed at supporting underprivileged entrepreneurs, particularly women and minorities, helping them navigate the challenges of starting and growing businesses. Her efforts earned widespread recognition, solidifying her reputation as both a trailblazer and a compassionate leader. For Marcus, racing remained his greatest passion, but he began exploring opportunities to give back to the community. Inspired by his mother's commitment to uplifting others, he partnered with organizations that provided resources and scholarships to aspiring young athletes. Through motivational speeches and workshops, he shared his journey, from humble beginnings to international fame, emphasizing the importance of perseverance, discipline, and staying true to oneself. Fans admired him not just for his skill behind the wheel, but for his authenticity and kindness off the track. As the years went by, Evelyn and Marcus often reminisced about the events at the dealership, laughing about how surreal the situation had been. But they also recognized its significance as a pivotal moment in their lives, one that reinforced their values and deepened their bond. It reminded them that adversity, when faced with courage and grace, could lead to growth and connection. One summer afternoon, Evelyn received an unexpected invitation in the mail. It was from the same luxury car dealership, requesting her presence at a special event celebrating diversity and inclusion in the automotive industry. Curious, she decided to attend, bringing Marcus along for support. When they arrived, they were greeted warmly by the manager and several employees, including Derek, who looked noticeably older, but radiated confidence and gratitude. "Mrs. Carter, Marcus," the manager said, shaking their hands enthusiastically. "Thank you both for joining us today. We wouldn't be here without your influence." Evelyn raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you mean?" The manager explained that the dealership had implemented sweeping changes in response to the incident, adopting policies designed to foster inclusivity and respect. They had introduced mandatory diversity training for all staff members, established partnerships with minority-owned businesses, and created outreach programs to engage underserved communities. The event served as a celebration of these efforts and a tribute to Evelyn and Marcus for inspiring them. Derek stepped forward, visibly nervous but determined. "I'd like to say something," he began, his voice steady despite his nerves. "When I first met Mrs. Carter, I let my biases get the best of me. I judged her unfairly and nearly missed the chance to learn from one of the most remarkable people I've ever encountered. Thanks to her and to Marcus, I've grown in ways I never imagined possible. Today, I'm proud to work for a company that prioritizes respect and equality, and I owe that to both of you." His words drew applause from the audience, many of whom nodded in agreement. Evelyn smiled warmly, touched by the sincerity of his remarks. "Thank you, Derek," she replied. "Change isn't easy, but it's always worth it. Seeing how far you've come reminds me that everyone deserves a second chance, including ourselves." Marcus chimed in, addressing the crowd. "My mom always says that true success is measured by the impact we have on others. If our story has inspired even one person to treat someone else with more kindness or understanding, then it's been worth it. Let's keep pushing forward, together." The event concluded with a panel discussion featuring industry leaders, activists, and advocates, sharing insights on fostering inclusivity in traditionally exclusive spaces. Evelyn and Marcus participated actively, offering valuable perspectives, shaped by their experiences. Attendees left the gathering feeling inspired and empowered, carrying with them a renewed commitment to creating a more equitable world. Driving home later that evening, Evelyn glanced at Marcus, who was scrolling through photos from the event on his phone. "You know," she said softly, "it's moments like these that remind me why we do what we do. Success isn't just about achieving our own dreams, it's about helping others achieve theirs too." Marcus nodded, smiling. "Couldn't have said it better myself, Mom. Here's to keeping the momentum going." Their journey wasn't perfect. They still faced challenges and setbacks, but they tackled each obstacle with resilience and determination. Together they proved that true wealth wasn't measured by material possessions or accolades, but by the ability to uplift others and leave a lasting legacy. And so, the story of Evelyn Carter and her son Marcus became more than just a tale of triumph over prejudice. It was a testament to the power of dignity, forgiveness, and second chances, a reminder that even in moments of injustice, there was always room for growth, connection, and hope.